and thank you for joining me today as we arrive at Portobello Promenade. Let's go and check it. Like many of the coastal towns around Britain, they offer a little promenade for people to come and visit, and they've got like amusement centres and little cafes and ice cream and all sorts. Now, for years, people have visited these types of places, and back to the Victorian days, probably even longer, and for a bit of fun. And for a certain time of period, it was even believed that the sea air can help out your breathing and all sorts, which has probably got some sort of science to it as well. There's a number of places around the UK and probably further afield that in effect do the same thing, giving you that enhanced concentrated sea air, used mainly for people with respiratory problems, but even so, still helps out. So, in amongst all the activities that go on here, we've got dog walkers. There's even a little beach volleyball area that I've seen a few games going on in the past, and I can't come all this way without at least getting wet. It was cold. However, fun times on the beach wasn't why I came to Portobello today. It was to tell you the story of Portobello's dark history. Now, Darwin was a famous scientist who came up with the theory of the evolution of man, going back to Neolithic times, whatever the word is, to the human species we have today, going through the various stages throughout the period of time. And his theory roughly was that as the body developed, obviously there must be links to go from one to the other, how the body adjusts to the environment. So, which is common sense really, was pretty much true. Now, was a certain group of people who believed that some of the missing links, or the body that was in between bit, are still going around today in certain parts of the world, and which I can't see how, but that's how they thought it was. Now, people nowadays have got access to the internet instantly, and anything you want to know, you can just tap into the Google or whatever, and you can get any relevant information in it you need. So, if you wanted to get pictures of back in the day, it was quite easy to. So, how 100 years ago, or before the mobile phones and computers were around, less information was known to the masses. So, if you wanted to find out something, it would have been word of mouth or for a book in the library or whatever. So, some bright entrepreneur, or a whole phase of entrepreneurs, thought to themselves, people are fascinated about far gone places and such, and exotic places. So how can we supply the readily access information to the masses. So, so a number of people managed to get certain locations and formed something called a human zoo. So, human zoo, wow, it's quite amazing. I didn't know about it even myself till recently. Now, what they would say was, or what they would do is they would get people from far gone places and bring them to Britain or America or the mainland Europe and say they were like a missing link or whatever. Now, the area behind me here, there's warehouses and stuff, sits a bus depot and some car dealerships. However, 150 years ago, it was a big, massive park. It had amusement rides, had stalls and such. It was the promenade before, I suppose, introduction with the promenade or whatever. But anyway, the main attraction in this big marine park was an open grass area, and on this open grass area they had a tribe of Somalis, or a number of them, and they had all huts and whatever, and people would pay tuppence halfpenny or whatever to come and see them. And obviously people didn't know much different and didn't know what they looked like, so wanted to come and check them out, and they would draw big crowds and all sorts. But probably one of the most amazing parts was it, they would come and pay, or the organisers would pay 2 or 3 of the men or whatever at a certain time when the crowd was big, pay them, I don't know, whatever it was, so, and they would have pretend fights, and obviously the people would be there in amazement saying, boy, what was going on? Wow, back in the day, back in the day. I guess it was different times. People didn't necessarily have the understanding as we do now. But I suppose these things happen, I guess. But this is the Scottish history or British history. In fact, it's probably the world history and European and all sorts of things. But there was a big story which you can find on YouTube about a guy they kept in Bronx Zoo. That's a pretty good video. You can check out if you want to. And there's another story about something in Belgium which was quite famous, but I don't know enough about those 2 stories to give you a full picture of it now. But check out those 2 if you want to, and probably even there's bound to be more info online about Portobello Beach, this human zoo here, and other ones around Britain. Ciao for now.